Welcome to another episode of Private Service Weekly with Lord Wallington. I'm super excited to bring to you a conversation with Miguel Sanchez of Stay in Motion Therapy, where we discuss the importance of caring for yourself when you work in private service. All too many times we burn out because we're working long hours in the private service industry and we forget to take care of ourselves. This conversation dives into some things that you can do to better take care of yourself so you can do your job better. I hope you enjoy. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Private Service Weekly with Lord Wallington. I'm here with Miguel Sanchez of Stay in Motion Therapy. He is a strength and remedial therapy coach with 9 years of experience. I've known him for a few years. He's a great guy, so I want to welcome you to Private Service Weekly, Miguel.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That's a great intro.
Right? Yeah. Well, that's exactly what you are. So,
Yes, sir.
So I just want to give everybody kind of a background and some feedback of what exactly this conversation with Miguel is about. So, in the private service world, a lot of times the job is very demanding, and also you're signing up for a lifestyle in service. So in that, you need to be really careful and also remember yourself in the process. Oftentimes people can work 12, 14 plus hours a day. If you're an on-site private service individual, you're usually on call 24/7. But you need to remember your health and your wellness is important to you doing your job right. You want to make sure that you're not leaving yourself kind of in the background where you're forgetting to eat, you're forgetting to exercise, you're forgetting to take care of your body. And you can only do your job good if you are a well-oiled machine. So that's why we have Miguel with us here this week. With his experience in the strength world, he is well known for being an outstanding coach in physical fitness. He can train everybody from children to elderly, top athletes, beginners, you name it. Miguel is very good at understanding exactly what it is you're trying to do with your life, with your body, with your wellness, with your well-being. And he's able to tailor programs to that so you can see results. A lot of times coaches don't listen to what it is that you're trying to do or what it is that you want or how you work. Miguel is very good at listening, and I'm very excited to have him here with us this week. Miguel, can you give everybody kind of just a little bit more of a background than something I might have missed?
Absolutely. No, you actually hit the nail. Perfect description. Yes. Number one thing is understanding, being aware of how you live your day to day. I know it sounds silly, but that's the honest truth. Day to day, your days are passing by to the point where we then start hurting, our joints start hurting, to the point where our energy levels are starting to decline. And then we ask the question, so what's happening, right? So then if we take inventory of what your day to day looks like, we get a better, clear picture of what it is that we're missing and what we need to add to, right? Without adding more stress so that we have better days throughout our days.
Okay, that's good information. That's a really good segue into kind of what is your approach to the health and wellness, aside from just listening to what people want and then tailoring it to their day? Because a lot of times people in the private service world, we're always trying to think ahead. We're always trying to be a step ahead of everybody else. That way everything is ready. That way there's no question of what's X, Y, and Z. And we don't want to add another stressor to the day, right? So if we're worried about our principal and their family's fitness schedule, making sure that their gym is set up for them before they even get there, I'm not thinking about my gym and fitness schedule, right? And so just kind of going, what kind of sets you apart in listening to people, and what is your approach in how you could help with somebody in such a high demand job?
Yeah. I mean, even in that field in itself, you're always alert and you're always paying attention to your surroundings. So you're always looking out for people, right? So then the question is, okay, so who's looking out for you?
Right.
We have
to know. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So you're always alert. Now, the goal is to stay in that position where you're always learning, you're always looking out for people, but you have to take a step back and be like, okay, am I taking myself serious in the sense where am I paying attention to how I eat and how I go on my day to day, right? For someone that's doing security, you're standing for long hours, right? And so what happens if, we're doing this for years to come and something does happen where your reaction has to be immediate, where you have to say with the run, pick up something, and all of a sudden your back gets thrown out. Or all of a sudden we can't react as fast because maybe we're a little clouded because maybe we didn't hydrate, or we didn't eat correctly that day, right? Where we're just running on fumes.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So then, I asked questions like, okay, before you decided to take this career, what are some things that you used to do growing up, right? So a lot of things get lost in translation in the sense where maybe growing up you were very active and all of a sudden the body is not active anymore, okay? So the body's amazing. It actually pays attention to that. If we stop moving, it'll remind us. It's like, hey man, it's time to pay attention to the way we're moving, the way we're sitting down. If we pay attention to that, and if we used to do it a lot, the body adapts rather quickly. So it's just a matter, again, realizing and painting that picture. I'll help you paint that picture, but at the same time, it's important that you paint that picture for yourself as well.
Well, that's such a good thought. I think a lot of people, when you said, who's looking out for you, some people probably just stopped and thought, my heart sunk. I was like, oh, I forgot. Like, who is? Like, I do have a family that supports me. I do have a wife that supports me, a son, friends. But at the end of the day, you're right. If I'm so focused in being proactive in my day-to-day, nobody's telling me anything, right?
Yeah.
So 100% up to the person. So that's why somebody like you is very key to ensuring that you're on that track to well-being. Health and wellness is number one. And like you said, focusing on your body to ensure that if you just do a simple little tweak, you're not down for a week because it can affect your position. So it's very good information to have. I appreciate that. So kind of going on to our next question here, we have, how do you help individuals who have demanding jobs find time to care for their health and wellness? And time these days seems to be going very fast. I don't know if the world is just spinning way faster than it should, or we're just getting older. But the days are getting shorter and time is flying by. So tips, I hate saying tips and tricks, but what are things that people can do to implement into their very busy schedules? And very well from the private service world, you're in the spotlight your entire day. So what can you do during that time in that spotlight to focus on your health and wellness?
Great question. So the truth of the reality is we're all getting older, right? It's not Benjamin Button. We're not going backwards. So as we're getting older, the demands of our body changes as well. So as we get older, we tend to slow down maybe a little bit. Again, our energy levels start declining, right? And I know I sound like a broken record, but it's very important to understand this at a big picture, a big great scheme of things. Because if you have a high demanding job, again, going back to taking inventory as far as your schedule goes, there is little loopholes, there is little timing in there that we can dedicate to ourselves, whether it be 20 minutes, whether it be 15, 20 minutes. That's all you need to then spark that energy to get you back going, right? And in those 15, 20 minutes, it could be a matter of sitting down and doing meditation, right? A lot of people hear that word meditation and right away they get a bad taste in their mouth because maybe they don't really understand what that meaning is, right? Meditation can be it's a matter of sitting down or closing your eyes and being in the moment for a quick moment, right? It could be maybe making a list of things that we want to do, whether go play a sport, whether maybe change our eating habits, or whether it be maybe, again, all in line of just setting goals, right? If we take those time, again, dedicate it to yourself in any way that you want to, just dedicate to yourself. And that way we can show up as our best self, whatever job or whatever, demanding thing that we have to do. So understanding, taking inventory, looking at your schedule, paying attention. Hey, how can I fit some time for myself? And it gets to that position too, where our schedule is so demanding. We have time for everything, right? Well, I need to be at my job at this time. I need to be at the kids' practice at this time. It's like, okay, cool. Look at your schedule. Is there a me time in that schedule?
Right.
right?
Yeah. You have to remember too that some people I don't want to say they might think it, but it's not a selfish thing to have 10 minutes of me time in there because you
Great
need
point. Yes. Yes. It's very important, right? It gets like that negative connotation of being selfish. It's important that you are selfish for a moment.
it. Right.
You need that time. Yeah. And at the end of the day, being selfish isn't selfish. Because then you taking that time allows you to then be your best person or show up for the right time for the right people at the right time.
Well, yeah, that's very powerful and very true. Because you're right. Negative connotation with that whole selfish thing with me time. I mean, if you're not on your A game, then everybody under you suffers, especially when you're in a role of support. Because when you're in a role of support in a private service industry, when you are supporting an extremely large estate, and if you are not on your A game, that can just snowball from a staff of 10 plus to the families, to the visitors, to the security. It can just snowball out of control. But if you're showing up on your A game, having taken that 10 minutes of me time, that is in no way a selfish thing. It is very much a proactive approach to being prepared, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good to know. So just kind of moving on here, it says, what is something anyone watching this can do while they're walking around, they're sitting, they're whatever they're doing at work? When you're in the private service world, a lot of times you're not just sitting at a desk or at a computer. That is very much not the role. It is on your feet, you definitely exceed your 10,000 steps a day when you're in this industry,
100%.
times 3, times 4 sometimes. I mean, it's insane how much movement you have. But you don't think of that as fitness, but what is something that somebody can do while they're, like you had said, meditation, just stop and just take a break for a second. If it's just planning, if that's how you meditate, if you meditate in planning, there's people that do that. If you meditate in organizing, a lot of this job is organizing. So maybe that organizing is your meditation time where you just kind of disconnect from everything else and you're organizing the supply closet or you're organizing the kitchen drawers, whatever it is. For some people, it's a very soothing exercise, right? Is lining things up, color coding things. It could be, something as simple as that could be your meditation time. And you're not thinking of it as meditation time, but maybe if you go into it thinking, you know what, for the next hour, I am just going to be zen with the cereal boxes or whatever it is, right? You're color coding them, you're putting them in by size, by shape, and it's just a very much, when you're done, you look at it and just deep breath in, deep breath out, and then it's off to the races again.
Absolutely.
So, right. So that was your selfish time. Keep moving. But just what are some things that people can do to just make sure they're not throwing out their backs, or make sure they're not pulling things without making sure, without taking, saying, I need to stop, I need to do this, 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 and this to ensure that. What is something where you're walking from one building to another, you have 5 minutes of transit time. What can they do in that time to make sure that they're taking care of themselves and their body?
Absolutely. And I really appreciate what you just mentioned too, as far as, being in a meditation state where you're organizing. It could be different for everybody, but the number one thing is being in the moment. When you're in the moment, you have a better understanding of where you're at and what you're feeling. Because when we're such in a go or being alert, we're not in the moment. We're kind of already, again, planning for what the future may happen. And so if we're in that state of what the future looks like, we dismiss being in the moment, which then adds unnecessary stress at times, right? So going along with that, segue into something that we can actually practice, even if we have a minute or two, it doesn't even have to be 5. One thing that's helped over time, even helped me personally, I use this a lot with a lot of my clients, especially when we have high demanding jobs, is a breathing exercise, right? It's funny. It's something that we do on a regular basis, right? We have to, obviously, we need the oxygen, we need to breathe. Right. So a nice inhale, exhale day to day. And you've noticed it picks it up too if we're on a go. But if we really take a seat in a nice big posture, or we just stand, if we do have, 5 minutes to go to one building to the other, even if we go outside, being in the moment, paying attention to your breathing pattern, right? One of my favorite exercises is a deep inhale with a good 5 to 7 count, holding your breath for a good 5 to 7 count as well, and then exhale with a nice 5 to 7 second count as well.
Wow.
It's amazing what one set of that can actually do. You'll feel more open, you'll feel more energized, and at the same time, our body will tell us, hey, this is what's going on with your body. This is what needs attention. Even with that breathing pattern, again, even though it will clear your mind, it also, our body talks to us. Maybe our joints or our back is a little achy. You feeding that oxygen, because you're holding it in, will amplify that healing pattern, because the body's amazing. The body can actually heal itself, but if we help it,
right?
Yes, it does heal itself, but then we have to help it as well, right? Whether getting a massage, whether getting doing our breathing exercises or doing our meditation state, doing those things put our body in ease. Because if we're constantly on the go, we're stressing, we ignore it, and if we ignore it day and day, days are passing by, and then the pains are increasing. So it's just a matter of taking a moment, do a little breathing exercise, and that goes a long way for your day to day.
Wow, that's extremely powerful, because in this job, as you very well have seen, Miguel, is anxiety and planning does not equal breathing. So that is something that I'm going to use. And I've seen you in action with clients with the breathing exercises, and the result of that is it's meditating, it's calming, it's soothing. It just reminds your body to take oxygen in. A lot of times throughout the day, when you're nonstop on, your breathing is not your focus. So very oftentimes you find yourself, why am I out of breath? Why am I yawning so much? There's no oxygen in there. You haven't breathed. And you're very right, where if you just take a minute, take some deep breaths in, fill that body with some really good air, let it go. It's such a simple thing that could help. If you do that a couple times throughout the day, it will just keep your day going versus hitting those walls of just frustration or getting tired. Wow. So that sounds more powerful than doing squats, right?
Although that's important, but yeah, that's just one simple thing, right? Without overwhelming your already demanding day.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Because I was coming into this thinking, you're going to be, well, while you're going from building A to building B, you're going to do lunges, lunge your way over there, burpee your way over to building B. But I don't want to do that. But breathing, taking deep breaths, conscious breaths in and out. I mean, that can help with stress, anxiety, your body in general, blood flow, your thinking. Wow, that could clear up a lot of issues that some people might be seeing throughout their day.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's amazing. Everyone, Miguel from Stay in Motion Therapy. You can reach him at stayinmotiontherapy.com. You can reach out to him on social media at Miguel Sanchez. Strength and remedial therapy coach with 9 years of experience. He knows a lot about strength, fitness, well-being. He's a funny guy. He can keep you laughing all day long. He has done massage therapy, you name it. I have never heard somebody say the guy doesn't get it done, because he just follows through with everything that he says he's going to do, number one. And number two, he's just he listens. That's something that's very special about Miguel. So if you're able to reach out to him or just follow him online on social media, if there's something you can get out of, what he has to say from today, that would be great. I did not think about the whole breathing exercise. That was the last thing I was thinking about. Just to recap here with Miguel, set some goals, inventory your time to make sure you have the time to do things for you throughout your day, because if you don't, then you're just hurting everybody. Nobody wins in that game. And then be in the moment. Private service world people are never in the moment. We are always 10 minutes ahead of the moment, which causes a lot of the stress, the anxiety. Breathing exercises should help that with that stress. You'll still have to be a little bit ahead of time, but take some in the moment breaks throughout the day. Stop and say, you know what, look what I've accomplished so far today. Yeah, I have to finish this and do that, and that has to be ready beforehand. But right now, I'm just going to breathe.
That's it.
Wow. All right, Miguel Sanchez, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you for this. Stay in motion therapy with Miguel Sanchez. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the conversation this week on Private Service Weekly with Lord Wallington, where we discussed how to better take care of yourself when you work in the private service industry with Miguel Sanchez of Stay in Motion Therapy. You can find him at Miguel Sanchez or at Stay in Motion Therapy on all platforms. And I look forward to bringing you more of these amazing conversations in the weeks to come. See you then.